Hey, you guys. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. We just hit 400 subscribers. I'm so happy. 400. Thank you guys so much. So grateful, so blessed. If you like this and you're new here, make sure you drop a subscribe and like. If you love this, check out my podcast, Better Than Yesterday, on Spotify. I used to post every Monday, Wednesday, Fridays for my podcast, but now I'm doing Mondays and Wednesdays for my podcast and leaving Wednesdays to post YouTube videos. So, yes, let's get right into it. Let me start recording, and here we go. Hey, you guys, welcome back to the Better Than Yesterday podcast. This is episode 36 with Jayla and Baby. And today we're going to be talking about how to stop being defensive. If you're new here and you absolutely love this, make sure you follow and leave a rating and review. It would mean the world to me. So, before we get into how to stop being defensive, let's address what it means to be defensive. And also just keep in mind that I do have another podcast episode called, I think, The Power of Defensiveness. So check that one out too. But this one's specifically talking about how to stop being defensive. So what does it mean to be defensive? It's basically an urgency, as according to Google, to protect yourself from criticism from others while typically feeling an intense emotion of sadness, anger, being overwhelmed, anything like that. Usually a feeling that we typically don't feel a lot or like to feel. So when we get criticized and become offended, it triggers these emotions that we don't usually feel. And it's hard to hear something about yourself which causes offense and then feel these negative emotions arise or be present in that moment. We typically get defensive during hostile times and situations. So when emotions are high, usually like a breakup, a fight, an argument, stuff like that. So, yeah, but how do we even stop being defensive? Okay. So now that we know what defensive is, how do we stop? Now, I do want to address I've recognized that I'm defensive maybe about a month ago, and I talked about this in the Power of Defensiveness episode, that I was not aware of it. And I was, and I am, and there's been people who told me that, and I guess I didn't really know what the word meant, or that they were just saying it to upset me or kind of like piss me off. But I realize I am defensive, and that's okay. And I've been actively working on bettering myself at it. And any disagreement I've came across, I've addressed it. And I vocalized it out loud, and it was hard. And I kind of took a step back, and I was telling the other person that I was arguing with or have a disagreement with where I got offended. I was like, I'm sorry for blah, blah, blah. But I feel like I reacted that way because, and then I paused and I was like, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me keep this separate. Okay. I don't want to respond in a defensive way. My feelings were hurt. I'm sorry for making you feel that way. Now, ending that counter claim. I feel blah, blah, blah because blah, blah, blah. Now, you need to make sure that you keep those two things separate. Don't always make it a reason that you are acting some type of way or defending yourself in some type of way because of what a person said. Instead, acknowledge the fact that you were hurt, apologize where is needed, and move forward. Sometimes when people call you a name or call you something which you take offense to, sit back and realize, why am I feeling offended by this? Is there any way that this statement or word they're using or trait they're bringing could be true? Is there any way? And try to think of, so if someone calls you, selfish, think of a time they're so selfish, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, you're going to be offended or defensive, okay? Offended and defensive. Think back. Are you selfish? Okay, yes or no? All right, no. Have there been times you've shown selfish tendencies and been selfish? Yes. Okay, when? Okay, I can see why they're upset. Okay? Sometimes when people are upset, you also have to realize they don't always mean what they say. Now, it doesn't make it right, but because of a thing you've done once or twice, it could have caused them to hurt. And because it's sat with them and they've sat with this feeling, they've not brought it up to you. So it could be boiling down and hurting, and they're bringing it up now. So it's very important to realize that too and not get offended, but just kind of break it down. Okay, why are they saying this? Am I this trait or thing that they're making me feel defended upon? Yes or no? Okay, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling offended by this? And validate your feelings. Okay, understanding and taking acceptance into what is being said to you and understanding and breaking it down. So it's better to be understood in the whole situation, not just on your part, but the other person that you're having the conversation with as well. So you can understand each other. Try to find ways to figure it out together rather than be against each other. Like, how can we be better right now? How can we fix this? Not trying to always get your point across. Sometimes also, when it comes to being defensive, understanding what they're saying and putting yourself in their shoes. Okay, why are they feeling this way? And why am I feeling offended? And how can I better understand them? And a good way of doing that is just being quiet, seeking to understand before being understood. A lot of the time, when we become defensive, we then feel the need to defend ourselves. Sorry for that voice crack. Defend ourselves, right? We just want to keep talking, explain ourselves why it's not true, and all this. And oh my gosh, as I'm talking, it's like, wow, this has been me. But the first step is being aware, right? Which is what I talk about all the time in all of my podcast episodes. The first step in changing and growing is being aware. It's huge. Let that sink in. Be aware. Now, like I explained, I had an argument with someone and I was like, why are you acting this way? Because I reacted off of, and I was like, wait a minute. Why am I explaining and defending myself? I'm sorry. Let me back up. I was aware for the first time in having an argument with someone, and that was amazing. That was crazy. Never thought I would. You choose to feel a certain way. No one makes you feel a certain way. You're choosing to feel a certain way because of what this person is saying to you. You're choosing to have certain thoughts about what this person has said to you to let it affect you. And the thoughts that you're thinking and the way you're thinking about the situation, you're thinking about the conversation, you're thinking about how they said it to you, and you're choosing the negative thoughts and reacting off of it, that's on you. You can choose to think, you know what, they're right, or know what, they're wrong, and I'm not going to let this upset me, and I'm not going to explain myself because it's not true. Or you can be like, you know what, they're right, and I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to change, and I'm going to grow, and I'm going to use this as a chance to change and grow. So it's all up to you and how you approach and think of the conversation, of the situation, and anything in life. Anything. Because it's all on you. You choose in which the way you want to feel. Always. So knowing that, we choose to find the truth and acceptance in our behavior and perspectives, but also being more open-minded in those conversations, right? Understanding where they're coming from, understanding why they're saying these things that are offending us. Why are we offended? Were we never self-aware of these things before? Or are they just completely wrong? Breaking it down. Also, allow yourself to feel any emotions that come up and hearing that other person out. A lot of the time, every time we get defensive, it's because all these negative emotions arise and we stuff them down. We're always so used to stuffing them down. So we need to always tell ourselves when we start to feel frustrated, I'm feeling frustrated, and that's okay. Because all emotions are welcome, all feelings are valid, and I am a human, and I have an array of vast amount and variations of feelings and emotions that I can't just tune into one in the day. That's not humanly possible. Okay, like it's human to feel emotions. Have you ever seen that, like, that one person walking by and like you don't know them and they're always happy and you're like, gosh, that's like, all right, this is a little judgy, but like, gosh, they're a little, why are they, that's weird. Like, how are they happy all the time? It makes no sense. They have no emotion but happy. And then you all of a sudden start to make assumptions about them, right? Like they're fake. They're pretending. And it's like, it's not, it's because we as humans have a bunch of emotions to feel. And you should welcome and allow all of them so they can flow freely. Okay. Another tip is to make sure to take it slow. Admit where you're wrong, admit where you can see their point of view, and acknowledge and realize and notice when you're being defensive and communicate it with them. I'm not going to lie, I feel a little defensive right now. So just give me a sec and let's regroup to this conversation because you want to be level headed while having a mature conversation. So you can grow and change and be the best version of yourself. It's very important, you guys, to understand everybody has strengths and weaknesses. Everybody. I've talked about this so many times. You can be the most elite person, you're still going to have weaknesses, but you have to grow and change. And once you overcome one weakness, you'll have another and another, and that is okay. We have triggers, we have weaknesses. Just grow and learn from them, because that's all part of life, learning and growing. So yeah, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you loved this episode. If you liked it, please leave a rating and review. And as always, share it with a friend, family, or a loved one. And remember to be 1% better than you were yesterday. Take care. See you soon. Have a great day, you guys. If you love this, make sure you check out the podcast and follow my socials on my homepage on YouTube, and keep an eye out for the new YouTube video coming out this Wednesday. Have a blessed day. Take care.